feel unstoppable. Ask your doctor how lasting remission can start with Stelara. Janssen can help you explore cost support options.
Colbert's got John Oliver tonight on CBS.
You're about to play with masters.
Up the middle.
Another edition of 60 Minutes.
All across the world.
Welcome to Australia.
One team, one dream, y'all.
NCIS Sydney, Tuesday, November 14th on CBS.
Watch WZMQ 19 News at your convenience, always streaming free on viewit.com.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Blakely. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, a potential ground offensive could be coming to Gaza. The latest as Israel tells 1 million Palestinians there to evacuate the area. Plus, Northern Michigan University students and community members gathered tonight for a prayer vigil on campus to honor the thousands of lives lost this week on both sides of the conflict. And still no deal. While the UAW is still negotiating with Detroit automakers, there's also no expansion of strikes. We'll tell you why. Your 19 News starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
As we get closer and closer to our Saturday time frame, we do have some alerts to contend with. Small craft advisories here for Eagle Harbor, Houghton, and we actually do have a gale warning out there towards the Duluth area. So if you are on the open waters, watch out for some increased wave action, mostly from the northeast. We'll be seeing some decent waves here there into Marquette as well. Presque Isle could see some decent waves this weekend as well. Tonight's forecast across Marquette, more clouds, shower later on in the day. Northeast wind about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Expecting to see more of that as we continue into these next couple of days. Marquette forecast for Saturday, showers northeast, wind about 16 miles per hour to start off the day. Those showers continuing into the afternoon as well. We're at 48 degrees, really kind of sticking around there with those showers continuing for the second half of the day. Temperature outlook starting the day at 48. Then as we head into our afternoon, not much variation in those temperatures, even for the overnight heading into Sunday. By Sunday afternoon, though, maybe sneaking a little bit more warmth. I'll have a full forecast update, including that 7-day forecast coming up right after the break.
Thank you very much, AJ. An evacuation order by Israel's military of more than 1 million Palestinians from northern Gaza is raising concerns of a worsening humanitarian disaster. The order comes ahead of an expected ground invasion of Gaza aimed at rooting out Hamas terrorists after last week's devastating attack on Israeli citizens and soldiers. Willie James Inman reports from Washington.
After days of deadly Israeli airstrikes, leaflets rained down on Gaza, telling residents to flee the enclave's south within 24 hours. Ahead of an expected ground invasion, the notice from the Israeli Defense Forces told Gaza City residents not to return until further notice. Thousands of frightened Palestinians followed the directive.
Moving more than 1 million people across a densely populated war zone to a place with no food, water, or accommodation when the entire territory is under siege is extremely dangerous and in some cases simply not possible.
Nearly a week after Hamas's brutal attack on Israel, the IDF showed reporters remains of unidentified victims.
Hundreds of bodies, of babies, children. Hamas uses their children and families and civilians as human shields. We don't do that.
Gilly Roman returned to the ransacked kibbutz, where he says his sister and 2 other relatives were kidnapped by Hamas during last Saturday's attack.
Held hostage by the terrorist regime in Gaza.
President Biden spent more than an hour speaking to families of 14 Americans still unaccounted for in Israel. Interviewed by Scott Pelley for this weekend's 60 Minutes, President Biden discussed getting hostages out of Gaza.
I say we're going to do everything in our power to find them, everything in our power. And I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but we're working like hell on it.
There is military personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem working directly with the Israelis to locate the American citizens.
President Biden said he's directed his team to work with the governments in Israel, Egypt, Jordan, and other Arab nations and the UN to surge humanitarian relief. The number of people killed continues to rise, with more than 1,300 in Israel and more than 1,900 in Gaza. Tonight, Northern Michigan University students and community members gathered on campus for a prayer vigil for the crisis. About 30 people, many of them from the Marquette community, came out to the event organized by students in NMU's chapter of Michigan Hillel. It began with brief opening statements and singing the national anthem of Israel, followed by a few prayers. The students who organized the vigil say they hope to bring more awareness and support for the Jewish community locally and worldwide.
Every time, and I think with that we need to have community, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yep, that's I think the keystone of everything that's going on tonight is the community aspect of it.
The vigil wrapped up after about 20 minutes and concluded with more songs and a moment of silence for the thousands of lives lost on both sides of the crisis this week. Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio received about 25 more votes today than he received earlier this week when the GOP conference voted Majority Leader Steve Scalise to be their nominee for Speaker of the House. But Scalise withdrew his bid run Thursday night, highlighting deep divisions among congressional Republicans. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan on Friday won a secret ballot vote by House Republicans in his bid to win the GOP nomination for Speaker.
We had a number of comments from that call last night, which I think we have, so we will go to the conference and talk with our colleagues, but I feel real good about my side of the vote.
But some House Republicans are skeptical Jordan will be able to get enough support from moderates to get the 217 votes needed to win on the House floor.
I think there's enough people that would see what has happened and transpired over the last 40 hours to not support him that we're going to have the same problem with Jordan that we had with Scalise. So I think it's a math problem.
Jordan faced competition from Georgia Congressman Austin Scott, who filed to run on Friday, saying he wants to, quote, lead a House that functions.
If we as Republicans are getting the majority, we have to do the right things the right way. We're not doing that right now.
As this race drags on following McCarthy's ouster more than a week ago, House Republicans have expressed they're disappointed with their process.
There's some deep mistrust, there's some communication problems, and some things are jacked up.
While the timeline remains up in the air, House Democrats are urging their members to be ready to vote on a moment's notice.
House Democrats are expected to nominate and vote unanimously for Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. That means Republicans only need 4 members to vote opposite of the rest of their caucus in order to have their candidate get the votes necessary. For the second Friday in a row, the UAW has chosen not to expand its strike against Detroit's Big 3 automakers. Now the union is taking a new approach as the strike hits the 1-month mark. Andres Gutierrez spoke with Sean Fain, the president of the UAW, shortly after his announcement at the UAW headquarters, and has the story.
They thought they figured out the so-called rules of the game, so we changed the rules. And now there's only one rule: pony up.
In order to apply continuous pressure on Ford, GM, and Stellantis, the UAW says strike expansions could now happen at any time with little notice.
What is the reasoning behind going away from the pattern of calling strikes every Friday?
I just think I think the companies have basically kind of expect it now, and I think it seems that we're waiting till the last minute on Thursday or Friday for someone to call and say, okay, wait a minute, here's what we have now, and that's no way to bargain. We expect to bargain every day. We expect to see progress every day.
Fain told CBS News Detroit they're still waiting on Ford to present a new offer and that nothing has changed since he called on 8,700 workers to walk out Wednesday at one of the automaker's most profitable plants, the Kentucky truck plant.
We don't do things on a whim, and trust me, I mean, if I just had my way, and it'd be easy just to say, at the beginning of this, everybody go out and let's just hit them, but there's a lot of factors we take into consideration, decisions we're making.
Fain says Stellantis presented a new counteroffer yesterday, and today bargaining teams are going back and forth over the details. He didn't get into those with us, neither did Stellantis, who today announced another 700 layoffs because of the strike.
It's tough out there. It's a lot of sacrifice on their part, and I've been there, but I think the resolve is there, and I think we all understand the battle that's in front of us. And you know, we're at a great inflection point, not just in this union, but in this country. You know, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want for America? And not just America, but for the world. And is it going to be runaway profits for a handful of people and they keep it all? Or is it going to be getting working class people back to where they make living wages and they don't have to scrape to get by, paycheck to paycheck? That's really what this fight's all about.
Fain is calling on union members to join picket lines this weekend and support striking workers. He's heading to Pennsylvania to join Mack truck workers who went on strike on Monday after rejecting a tentative agreement. Developing now, the Delta Conservation District is seeking a specialist to recover public documents they believe the district manager erased. According to the board chair, official Conservation District documents were deleted from a district computer. Manager Rory Matson says he took the computer to DS Tech for an overheating issue and to remove the private accounts of a former district employee from the device. He says the documents in question were transferred to another device, but the board chair says they've been erased completely.
Took that laptop to DS Tech and they recovered thousands of files, including electronic files that I hounded you for 5 months on a FOIA request before I ran for this district board. That is either lazy, incompetent, or deceptive.
Because the destruction of public records is a crime, the board will request law enforcement's help to recover the files from the computer's hard drive. Gladstone Area Public Schools is asking voters to support a bond proposal that will be on the ballot November 7th. The proposed bond would lower the tax rate to 5.75. Gladstone Schools plans to use the funds to improve facilities, including more inclusive playground equipment, security upgrades, and additional academic programming. According to the district superintendent, that tax rate would be locked in, allowing the school to plan long-term projects and providing stability for taxpayers.
Locking that in, what we're saying is we're not going to increase that or come back to increase it 5, 6, 8, 10 years down the road. We want people to be able to build that into their budget, enjoy a little bit of a tax break, and then have peace of mind that it's stable.
Voters are invited to an informational town hall meeting next Wednesday at the Gladstone High School Auditorium at 6:30 p.m. Your first morning weather forecast is coming up after this break, plus some safety tips if you plan to catch a glimpse of the annular solar eclipse across the UP tomorrow. And later, when veterans have a chance to get a COVID vaccine during a clinic next week at the Iron Mountain VA Hospital. We're back in 2 minutes.
19 News is brought to you by Kirkish Furniture.
Shop our huge selection of Amish-crafted dining room sets at Kirkish Furniture in Houghton. Browse our large in-stock collection and customize with a special order. With 1-year no-interest financing available, plus free delivery. Shop Kirkish Furniture today.
Tonight on The Late Show, my guest is John Oliver. As they say in Britain, he's my brother from another governor. We don't say that.
Tonight on CBS.
We've been a big part of a lot of community events. You know, we've been to a lot of festivals, parades, the UP 200, the Myers State Games. Which one has been your favorite?
I gotta say, okay, first of all, the Upper spirit, right? Dedication, care, humor, and then that grit. And watching all of these events being put together and the volunteers, it's just been incredible, especially with the UP 200 having to pivot.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite because of how they were able to do that, but also the fact that they put snow on 3rd Street and we got to go sledding down there. That was my favorite. What about you?
I would agree with that. I mean, just the Festival of the Sled Dog was really cool to see because it was that Upper spirit of it doesn't matter if someone's going to knock us down, we're just going to keep going. And I think it was really cool for us to be a part of that too because it was right in front of our studios. Yes. I mean, we just had to walk out our front door basically and we could be right there at the festival. And I think that's really another cool thing about being right downtown is everything kind of does happen right at our front doorstep. And it's exciting not only as a news station, but as someone who lives here. It's exciting to have such easy access to these festivals and events and the Blueberry Festival and the Farmers Market.
That was my second one, was the Wednesday night Farmers Market and seeing all that local produce and products, especially those smash burgers.
The smash burgers were just delightful.
Now, WZMQ 19 News First Warning Weather with Ariane Stasic.
As we continue into the overnight, we are expecting some changes, and one of them being is more of that northeast wind, increasing cloud cover. It was a decent evening out there, but the clouds have filed in, and we're expecting some of those showers to develop, pushing into Marquette itself and much of central portions here of the UP, even up towards Houghton. Really just a lot of lake to work with this lake effect wind here, about northeast wind. 10 to 15 miles per hour, providing some more rain showers. Less coverage of those showers heading into Monday or Sunday as well as Monday. And we are expecting a few of those drops to linger on, though. The primary rain down to our south as we continue moving ahead here. Escanaba, Florence could be getting grazed by it, but certainly Rhinelander down towards the Green Bay area seeing a heavier rainfall from this storm system. The immediate lakeshore expected to see probably a 1/10 of an inch up to a 1/4 of an inch with these lake effect bands for our Saturday time frame, maybe even a little bit more than that. You can see that happening into Marquette. We're staying dry throughout much of early next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Looking at some nice conditions here region-wide. As we head for the end of the 7-day forecast and a little bit beyond, we're seeing some oranges and reds. No, this is not a fall foliage map, even though that season has kind of passed on through here. We are seeing more in the way of some warming temperatures. The more shades of orange and red that you get here. So Bismarck, North Dakota, very expecting to see above average temperatures for the end of the forecast period. Chicago, nearly even. We're kind of in the middle there, Spo. We will be seeing increases of temperature as we head for the end of next week. Wind gust forecast, perhaps upwards of 30 miles per hour. Our typical lake effect breeze here kind of blowing in northeast, could be gusting 30, 35 miles per hour. A little bit more of a rotation to that wind as we continue into Sunday with that low pressure system skirting off further to the east. Still a few showers possible here as we head into our Sunday time frame. That northerly wind and a long fetch over a cooler Lake Superior. Tonight's forecast lows, we're talking 45 Newberry, 49 Marquette. That's right by the lakeshore. Away from it, could be seeing some cooler temperatures. Ironwood at 43, Iron River at 43, Iron Mountain at 45. So a little bit warmer down there to the south. Menominee tracking those showers. Could be pushing a little further north. We'll keep an eye on those for you. Tomorrow afternoon, not much change in those temperatures. The lakeshore showers will start to kind of ramp on up here, especially further west with that wind blowing right off the lake. Menominee, Escanaba, even a peak of sunshine not possible on kind of the backside there by the Wisconsin border. Right to our 7-day forecast for Marquette, 49 for our daytime tomorrow. We're at 49 Sunday too. The clouds sticking around to start off next week. Few showers possible these couple of days as we head towards Tuesday, Wednesday. That's where we see an improvement to our weather picture. No little disturbance squeaks on through heading into Thursday, but take a look at the temperature trend. We're down to 48 for that afternoon high Monday, up to 53 by Tuesday with more sunshine sneaking into the forecast, and then we'll be up towards 60 degrees to end off next week. Next Friday looking phenomenal. This weekend, Sunday over Saturday.
Thank you very much, AJ. Some of the UP's backwoods are turning into a racetrack this weekend. The Lake Superior Performance Rally will be taking over parts of Marquette and Baraga counties, bringing over 70 cars to compete. Drivers will navigate through over 400 miles of trails, and the race is a part of the American Racing Association's National Championship Series. Organizers say over the years, it has formed a special bond throughout the people who rally race.
Sport is really amazing how it's not just men, it's men and women and kids. I race with my daughter. There's lots of husband and wives teams that are running. It's really a family experience, but in general, all the rally people are an extended family.
The racing is free to watch. We have links to the full schedule of events at WZMQ19.com. The annular solar eclipse is set to hit the sky tomorrow afternoon. The eclipse occurs when the moon is at its furthest point from the sun. Anyone hoping to see the eclipse should make sure proper eye protection is used. Some ways to safely view the event this weekend include solar eclipse glasses, solar filters for looking devices, or making a pinhole camera.
This time, the moon will, when it's fully over the sun, there would be a ring of light, some call it the ring of fire, would be existing around the moon.
The Upper Peninsula will be in the 30 to 40% coverage area for the eclipse. So due to low coverage, residents can expect to see a black disk float across the bottom of the sun with your special gear, of course. The eclipse will start at about 11:40 a.m. and go until about 2:15 p.m. This weekend, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse will be visible across many portions of the United States, and during that eclipse, the moon appears slightly smaller than the sun. Sky gazers are set to watch the action unfold on Saturday, but Danya Backus shows us how to protect your eyes for essential safe viewing.
A rare celestial show is coming to the sky, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse. Americans from Oregon to Texas will have a great view, but before gazing up, experts say don't look directly at it without proper protection.
UV rays from the sun is very strong and can cause damage to the retina, which is a very sensitive area of the eyes responsible for visual acuity or sharpest point of your vision.
Dr. Annie Nguyen is an ophthalmologist with Keck School of Medicine at the University of Southern California.
You think like the darkest, pair of sunglasses can shield off most of these rays. Even the ones that are marked 100% UV protective, like sunglasses, are not safe for, looking at the sun.
There are special solar viewers or glasses needed to protect your eyes while looking at a solar eclipse. Make sure they are certified ISO 12312-2 and the glasses aren't expired or damaged. Also check that the vendor selling the glasses is approved by the American Astronomical Society. Without the glasses or filter covering your eyes, the damage is potentially irreversible.
12 hours to a couple of days to really notice the damage, and there are no pain receptors on the retina, so you won't feel the pain either.
If you view this weekend's annular solar eclipse and notice a decrease in vision, dark spot, or color distortion, contact your eye doctor right away.
Much more of the country will be able to see the total solar eclipse this April. The AAS has a list of glasses suppliers that meet all safety requirements, and you can also ask your local eye doctor if they carry special viewing glasses. Still ahead tonight, after concerns it was going extinct, the monarch butterfly seems to be making a comeback. How a group in California is working to make sure it sticks around for good after this.
Now more than ever, you need to know what's happening here in Washington. Decisions affecting your life by the people you set here. I'm Rachel Knapp, tracking the daily decisions by your senators and representatives. That's my job, and I report to you. Healthcare, education, the economy, taxes, jobs, all hang in the balance. Watch my reports from Capitol Hill only on WZMQ 19 News.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of this incredible mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. You can help protect our children and bring the missing ones back home safely. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction for your generous donation. And to make it even easier for you, we provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Find the Children not only provides crucial resources to help find missing children, but also offers educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families, bringing tears of joy and relief to those who have been searching endlessly. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe, where every family stays together, and where hope never fades. Pick up the phone and call the number on your screen. Together, we can bring these kids home safely.
In a game of quick draw.
Jump rope. Jump rope is correct! 1, 2, 3,
It's fast-paced family fun for all. Pictionary. Every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on WZMQ CBS.
Who will be there when the final whistle blows or the final votes have been cast? Will you start a career in the broadcasting industry? Be there. Go to BeThereMichigan.com.
You're watching the award-winning WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Sarah Blakely.
Monarch butterflies were nearing the brink of extinction in 2020, but there is some good news. Their numbers are now improving thanks to new efforts. Joy Benedict takes us to one Southland community in California that's making sure the species soars high into the future.
There's something in the air in the Hollywood Hills, as the blooming is a beacon
for the butterfly.
1, 2, 3. Something should be coming out of her. You saw the egg?
Oh my God, yeah. The monarch butterflies are laying eggs and flying high, but it's not by accident or even by nature. It's a plan by this community as the monarch is on the endangered species list.
We have one little guy left.
Stephen Pine is raising his monarchs inside.
They're beautiful insects, and we care about, beautiful little insects. We don't want them to go extinct.
He says when the Hollywood Knolls Garden Club started telling everyone about the need for milkweed to keep the butterflies alive, he got 2 small plants and ended up with 24 caterpillars.
It looked like an alien takeover at one point when you had all of them just going to town on our plants. They literally chewed them to the nubs of the stalks.
With the temperatures rising, he brought his tiny plants and tiny caterpillars inside.
We had so many caterpillars, I had to go around the neighborhood and find, random milkweed plants and steal leaves to keep our caterpillars fed.
They can smell milkweed for up to 2 miles away.
Charles Malky is the co-chair of the Garden Club and owns a plant product company. He handed out milkweed to his neighbors as it's the only plant the monarch caterpillars can eat.
It's shocking that they've hit the endangered species list last year. We all need to take that additional step to support their populations by dedicating some of our real estate to them.
Especially since this was once their habitat.
Our homes have taken away from their real estate.
But scientists say it's not construction killing this winged tiger. It's the herbicide that kills the milkweed and the pesticide that stops the flight.
How bad a shape are they in?
It's been really bad. We probably have only about 1% of the monarchs that we would have seen 40 years ago.
Dr. Jeff Holmquist is an ecologist at UCLA. He says we also can't rule out the effect of climate change.
As the climate changes, we may start to have more of these mismatches between plants and the insects that depend on them.
Butterflies migrate based on the temperature, but the warmth can be deceiving, allowing them to fly to their next location too soon.
So they've left their coastal overwintering habitat, gone inland to find milkweed, and oops, little or no milkweed there. So that's a problem.
Which gives this community just one more reason to plant it.
This here is a seed pod, and you can see the beautiful seeds.
And its beautiful friend, the orange and black banded fluttering staple of fall, which this community hopes will soar for generations to come.
In health news tonight, the VA hospital in Iron Mountain is having a COVID vaccine clinic next week. This year's COVID shot will be available starting on Monday. That clinic runs through Friday in the primary care waiting room from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. The vaccines are being administered at no cost to eligible veterans. And for those that can't make the clinic, the vaccine can be obtained through a PAC team provider at a regularly scheduled appointment or from a community provider. We'll have more details on our website on how veterans can check their eligibility. The last flu season hit children and teens particularly hard. CDC data shows flu hospitalizations for kids were high from October of 2022 to February of this year, and cases occurred early in the flu season. Researchers point out that fewer children are getting their flu shots compared to previous years. Doctors recommend everyone ages 6 months and older get their flu shots, ideally by the end of October. And new research shows lung cancer rates are higher among women than men. A study published in JAMA finds the disparity impacts women ages 54 and younger. Doctors say they're not sure why women are getting lung cancer more often than men, especially since men are more likely to smoke cigarettes. We have a wet and chilly weekend ahead for us, but we'll be clearing out a little bit by the start of next week. AJ has the outlook on the way for us. And guess how long this library book was overdue before someone finally turned it in? That's our final story after the break.
The wait is over. England Furniture's quick shipping is back at Kirkish Furniture. Choose your style and fabric and receive your furniture in as little as 30 days. Browse our in-stock selection or let our staff help you customize the perfect sofa or chair. Plus, 1 year free financing and free delivery.
Here's your WZMQ CBS This is Home Community Calendar.
Tonight on The Late Show, my guest is John Oliver. As they say in Britain, he's my brother from another governor. We don't say that.
Tonight on CBS.
Escanaba and Delta County, home to beautiful beaches, Lake Michigan, lighthouses, pretty parks, and great people. It's why so many are proud to say, this is home. I'm Lily Simmons. I'll show you what's happening here every day. In your schools, your communities, and businesses. Sharing what makes this area so special.
Lily Simmons reports from Delta County. Weeknights at 6 and 11. Only on WZMQ 19 News.
The Baxter Family Survival Guide.
Dad, you taught us to be self-sufficient.
And yet you're all still here.
Rule number 1, expect the unexpected.
You want money, maybe you should do what other people do.
Get my own reality show. Dad, I'm trying.
Rule number 2, learn to adapt.
You're gonna use a glass, right?
Fine, hand me the big one.
Rule number 3, stand your ground.
You know, we got married. I thought I was a smart one.
Last man standing.
I'm Rachel Knapp. Watch my reports live from Washington, only on 19 News.
One last look at the forecast before we head right into the weekend. Showers at 8 a.m. expected to kind of persist throughout the day, kind of just going off and on, especially for the immediate lakeshore. Those temperatures not changing as a result of that steady wind northeast, about 10 to 15, maybe even 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperature right near 48 degrees. I think inland spots a little bit warmer than what we'll see there. Rainfall outlook, the heavier rain for the overnight, but the lake effect showers continue off to the north. Could be picking up maybe a tenth, a quarter of an inch of rainfall. So not a whole lot of lake effect expected here region-wide. That wind decent, but not too strong. Our 7-day forecast moving ahead. These temperatures right near 50 degrees as we continue these next few days. The cloudy skies even persist into the beginning of next week. Improvements for both Tuesday and Wednesday. The sun peaking on out. Temperatures into the middle 50s. We're up into the upper 50s. Thursday and Friday, little disturbance we're watching here for the end of the week, but nice sunshine to cap off the week as temperatures climb near 60 degrees.
Not too bad. Thank you very much, AJ. Finally tonight, if you've ever felt guilty about returning that library book a little late, this might make you feel better. A book was recently returned to the library in Larchmont, New York, 90 years after it was checked out. The book, titled Youth and Two Other Stories by Joseph Conrad, was published in 1925. The fine for the book overdue by some 90 years, believe it or not, just $5. That's the maximum fine at the Larchmont Public Library. In a published report, the Larchmont Library's librarian says the book will stay at the library and they are happy to have it back, but it will stay out of circulation. The library also said thanks to Joni Morgan, who discovered the book among her stepfather's belongings, and it is now back at the library. So if you were late for by a week or two, don't feel bad. At least it wasn't 90 years overdue, right? That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you right back here on Monday. Have a great weekend.
We've been a big part of a lot of community events. We've been to a lot of festivals, parades, the UP 200, the Myers State Games. Which one has been your favorite?
I gotta say, okay, first of all, the Upper spirit, right? Dedication, care, humor, and then that grit. And watching all of these events being put together and the volunteers, it's just been incredible, especially